Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning, as they say.
Top of the morning to you too, my laddie. How you going today?
Well, I was back in London over the weekend, and
Yeah.
I could have been anywhere. I could have been in Ireland. I could have been in Syria. I could have been in. I was staying at a very cosmopolitan part of town called Bayswater. Quite fascinating. To my horror, Linda, to my horror, I went into a pub. The first horror was I had to call the police because I'd been robbed in there. They charged me £6.50 for a pint of Guinness. The second horror was he said, "Sorry, mate, no cash. Only take cards here."
Oh. So you know what I do when they do that? You ask him to pour the beer first.
Yeah.
And then you say, well, sorry, I can't pay. See you later, and just walk out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I say that to people, if someone says to me, sorry, your currency is not a currency in this shop,
Yeah.
I go let them ring it all up and then say, I've only got cash. And they go, oops. And you say, oh, well, see you later. You've just missed out on all that commission.
Yeah. And it's interesting because when I went to get myself a falafel sandwich, which is obviously run by non-Indigenous English people, it said cash only.
Yeah.
My type of place. Yeah.
I will gladly go in there and give them as much cash as they want.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Wow.
it was really was an eye opener going back. I hadn't been back. It's actually 3 years I hadn't been back to London. It was in about 3 weeks' time because when I came back, the old COVID thing just started about 3 weeks after. So yeah, so it was a real eye opener how expensive everything has got and how crazy it is, and really quite shabby as well.
So
Shabby.
crazy.
London's got so shabby, but
London's gone shabby, have they?
yep. So, but there you are. But I stayed in a really great place, and if anyone wants to go to London and have a really cheap and clean place to stay, then just drop me an email and I'll tell you the place. Because I sold my boat. It was pointless me keeping a boat because I couldn't travel for all that time. So
Yeah.
I had to find somewhere to stay. But there we are.
Come on, now you've got to share what type of boat you had.
Oh, it was only a little cabin cruiser. It was called. It was only about 5 meters long by about 2 meters wide. But when you go down into the cabin, you had 2 seats on the left, toilet on the right with a little cooker, and the bed at the back. It was somewhere to put my head down. And it was in London. That was the amazing thing. It was in London in an area called Brentford, which is near Richmond or Kew Gardens.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's
Very
gone.
good.
I sold it to my friend's son, so it's gone to somebody I know. And when he's finished renovating, I'll be back on the boat to sleep there when I do come to London.
Absolutely. And that's what we were just talking about on off air, Mike.
Yeah.
For those who don't hear us off air, sorry to do that to you. But we were just sharing how over the last 3 years, or 2 years, we'll say 3 now, everybody's had a choice of what we do, and everybody's had a choice of what you want to hang on to. How many people hung on to their material houses, cars, boats, all this stuff, and then they scream poor that they must take a certain medical procedure for their job?
Yeah.
We've got to get back to basics here. We're not supposed to be materialistic beings. We're animals. We're mammals. So if you look at any other mammal in the world, they're all scourgers who don't rely on materialistic gains. That's only something based on our ego. And the more spiritual that we get and the more we aspire to look into our own consciousness as to what we are, truly are, that's when we think, yes, it's nice to have a nice shirt to wear. It's nice that I've got a hairdryer to curl my hair. But it's those luxuries that, we've got to keep reminding of ourselves. They're called luxury items for a reason. And I would forsake my luxury items in a heartbeat for my health. And
Well,
that's where so many in the last 2 years have gotten it so wrong.
it
You know?
all comes down to this perception.
Yeah.
How you see yourself. I mean, we are living in a material world, so to speak, and you
Thank
know,
you, Madonna. Or was
we
it Cindy? No, Cindy
no
Lauper was Material
no, it was
World.
Madonna.
Madonna. Yeah, Madonna sang Material Girl.
Oh, okay.
And then Cindy Lauper did I'm a material girl. Oh, hang on. I think I got
Yeah,
it wrong way around. But
wrong
Cindy
way.
Lauper did one of it. So there's a Material Girl and Material
Yeah,
World.
yeah,
You know, and they both
yeah,
came out in like the
yeah,
same decade. So, of course, they're both in my
yeah.
brain. Yeah.
But I mean,
So,
I think
you know,
it's
but the,
okay to indulge within reason, that it doesn't become the be all and end all.
yes,
And you know,
that's exactly
I often
right.
hear, you know, people who complain, for example, the cost of a medium. Just for example, well, some of the big celebrity mediums cost $800. Others, normal people, cost anywhere between 60 and €120, £120. And some people say, you know, they can't afford it, but you know, I can't afford the television I want.
That's, well, okay, let's go there. Okay, this is a good debate here, right?
Yeah,
Thank you so much to 1970 AFAMA. Talking about material, where is your new mobile phone, Linda? Okay, here is my old phone, guys. Okay? Now, I'll tell you why I had to upgrade this, because it's an iPhone 6, and for me to do my work, where I contact people all over America, I live in Australia, and I'll go there. Now with my own YouTube channel, my demographics under my analytics tab, it says that 80% of my viewers are Americans. So that means 80% of my contacts have to be through some sort of better device than this. So I had no option. If I want to keep investing in myself and creating work for myself which generates income, I had to go and buy the iPhone 14. So thank you so much. 1970, where are you? AFAMA?
yeah,
I hope that you were being a little bit nice there by just saying,
I think
hey, you
so.
said you wanted to get a new phone. Did you get it? Here it is. It's the
Yeah,
iPhone 14. Okay, it's got the two cameras. I could have gone to the Pro Max, but that one with the 3 cameras, that would have cost me an extra $350, and I would have preferred to have put that money into something else that was worth it
yeah,
for me. Okay, you know, that's me to put away money now for a rainy day in case my car breaks
yeah,
down. I'm bordering getting a new fridge because my fridge is starting to smell a bit and the food's not as fresh as it should be. So I know I'm going to need money there as well.
yeah,
So, you know, as a single mum, I pay full rent here in Australia. I'm doing my best in hard times as well.
yeah,
But it's when we stop playing the victim card and we say, right, this is my situation. I want to live forever. If you believe in Queen's song, who wants to live forever? We all want that. But if we're
and we
going
all do.
we are, because our soul is perfection, right? But ultimately, I needed this phone because now, you know, if you watch my channel, I just did a live the other day where I'm walking through the botanical gardens in my city because I'm now using this phone for work.
Yeah,
This is my work phone. So I needed it for the 80% of my demographics who live on the other side of the planet to me. So there you go.
yeah. I mean, again,
So thank you, 1970 AFAMA for
Gabby. Yeah,
yes.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's okay to buy a new phone. It's when you buy one every 6 months or every year that it becomes a problem.
that's right. Or
So
you just need that new car just for the fact that it's the new car. You know,
or you
I
queue
know
out
somebody every year they have to go in and get the latest model because they have to keep up with the Joneses because they're hanging all around with all these other rich people and they all drive the best model of the very current model.
yeah,
So, you know, if you have a car that's a year old, it's like, oh. So that's what I'm sort of talking about here with, you know, are they willing to keep their cars for maybe 3 or 5 years while it's still in their warranty process?
Yeah.
So then they don't have to spend that money. They could do it on something more that's going to help their futures, if you know what I mean. You know, I don't judge people. I really try not to, you know, but it does irk me. I don't try and judge people. But, you know, when people ring me and they say, I can't say it on air because we'll get pulled up in the algorithms. But, you know, we've all had choices in the last 2 years, you know, and I've met so many people now who said, I had to do it for my job. No, you didn't. Living in a tent, you're still going to be supported. You're still going to be looked after. You're still damn alive. I would live on if they said to me a year ago that I had to have it for my situation, I would be living in a tent now telling them no.
Yeah.
So I would never have it for my job.
Well, they threatened me with imprisonment if I didn't take it.
And they've actually done that to me as well, Mike.
Yeah.
So, and look at it all now. It's all fizzed away.
And guess what, Linda? I never took it.
And we're the healthiest people. I have never had COVID, and I can honestly say, and it's not like I haven't got the tests.
Where's she gone? I've
got, there's 5 tests per box. The government gives me 2 of these a month, so I get 10 tests a month. So I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 boxes by 5. So, but I will never put one of these things up my nose to test myself, because now I'm hearing what's in the real PCR tests. Sorry, I'll only spit in, like when I go to see my dad, they have this saliva one, so you spit into it, so you don't even touch it. You just spit into this little tube, and then you stick in the solution and you test that. So I don't even use it, because that PCR that goes up the back of your nostril, they are so bad for you. If you saw what they're finding in those. So I will use it on my watermelon. My watermelon tested positive, by the way, about 6 months ago, because I only use this on my fruit. Yeah.
Well, you know, before
how does a watermelon get COVID?
Before we start on our first story on the ghost, I'm laughing because my friends all used to go to football during this big pandemic. You know, crowds of 50,000. You had to have a PCR test. They all used the same test from someone who was negative for, you know.
Oh, honey, it's all, we know now.
Yeah.
And now I've got to pause so they don't get how fake it was. You know?
Jean said this a long time ago. But there you are. Linda, we better get going because you got
I'll just let you know, guys, I must finish on time tonight because tomorrow I'm back in the university with my daughter. She's she's still got 2 years of school left, but she's been virtually they told me when we were there the other day she's guaranteed a spot at uni because of this attendance that she's doing. So I've got to go. I've got to be on a train at 5:30. Thank God, Mary will be fine. For those asking about Mary, she'll be fine. She's I've got a house sitter coming over for the day. She's going to be here studying for the day with watching Mary with the air conditioner on. So, I always like having someone at my house when I don't be here. Yeah, because people hear you saying, I'm not here tomorrow, and they come around and rob you. So I always ensure I've got a house sitter that's here doing stuff while I'm not here. So I'm off grid tomorrow at university.
There was a joke in there, Linda, about people coming round to rob you. There's a joke in there, but I'll offend too many Australian people. So
go and say it, mate. We're pretty good with our Aussie jokes.
Well, I tell you, basically, it's something like this. I applied for a visa to go and live in Australia many years ago, and they said, "Have you been involved in drug activity? No. Terrorism activity? No. Do you have a criminal record?" And I said, I didn't think it was a requirement anymore.
It's true though. You've got to love the Australian humour, darling. We're good. We're cool. They're cool. It's
so
all good.
there you are.
That we didn't get pulled up in the algorithms of you saying a couple of certain words. There's one starting with T. Oh my God! All right, old ones are the best, Mike. Yeah, because I know, James. Yeah, we've got to keep our Aussie humour to ourselves, James. All right, we better go and start watching some ghost files.
Let's go and look at some ghosts.
Cool tonight, guys. Hey, let's play a game.
Mm-hmm. We're
about to play real or fake.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Super.
Let's go 3. There's 3.
Yeah.
So let's go. 1, is it fake or real? Number 2, video, fake or real? And 3, fake or real? Let's see what you're saying.
Okay.
Uploaded to YouTube by Old Phantom 13 appears to be some fairly standard footage of a supposed poltergeist haunting. Moving objects, creepy noises, standard fare for such a clip, and easily dismissed by several viewers as a possible fake. However, if you watch the beginning of the video carefully, you can see what appears to be some sort of strange light that the uploader believes could be a ghost. The mysterious figure certainly lends weight to the clip, and makes the subsequent actions even more creepy. The video's description mentions that the uploader had been having problems with people breaking into and vandalizing their shop. So, in an attempt to capture the culprits in action, they decided to set up several security cameras around the property. While the cameras may not have captured a human intruder, what they do show is far more unnerving. As the video continues, 2 of the lockers begin to open and close all by themselves. Shortly after, a persistent clanging sound can be heard, as if something's trying to open a locked door. Then, just as the sound stops, the wheelchair slowly begins to wheel across the room. Certainly a very chilling sight for someone who was expecting to see a potential burglar. Unlike most poltergeist videos that are usually filmed at night, this footage, uploaded to YouTube by user Gak, was captured in a guitar shop in the middle of the day. Customers are still around and it seems clear the shop is open. In some ways, this makes the clip feel more authentic, as it doesn't include any of the classic spooky cliches. In fact, business seems to be running as usual in the guitar shop, as various patrons test out guitars, seemingly unaware of the potential ghost moving among them. The mysterious figure seems to enter through the door on the right side of the screen, then appears to make its way straight up the stairs without a single customer noticing. Sometime later, the man in the middle of the screen moves further into the middle to get a better look at a guitar. Just when his attention is elsewhere, the ghostly figure, seemingly not wanting to draw any attention to itself, quickly moves towards the back of the store. It's clear that the shop's patrons have no idea that the possible ghost is moving among them. However, its presence is very obvious thanks to the security camera footage, leaving us scratching our heads as to what else this mysterious figure could potentially be. Before we get to that number 1 spot and take a look at a super creepy photo taken in Spain, remember to hit that subscribe button and tickle the bell icon. That way you'll be notified about all our latest scary and creepy content. Those in search of true poltergeist activity know that famously haunted spots are often a goldmine for these sorts of happenings. This video, uploaded to YouTube by user Ideal Spain, is no different. Captured at what is commonly known to be one of the most haunted homes in Spain, Cortillo Llorado Compañías, these visitors appear to have found exactly what they were looking for. After a brief explanation, the video zooms in on a photograph taken of the exterior of the house. Upon closer inspection, the ghostly figure of an old man is clearly visible, standing in one of the windows. If this isn't eerie enough, one of the video's comments suggests that the figure bears a remarkable resemblance to Mr. Heredia, one of the home's past owners. Local legend says that the Heredia family kidnapped young girls from the area and subjected them to sinister rituals. While it is true that many young girls did disappear during this time, the Heredia family were never proven to have been involved. Some say they managed to evade justice using their vast wealth and influence. What do you think? Does this photo really show the ghost of Mr. Heredia? Love to know what you think in the comments section below.
What do you think? Shall I go first?
Yeah, let's start with number 1, which was the
Wheelchair.
the wheelchair and the lockers. What did you think, Mike?
I got confused because at first I thought it was fake, but then when there was that little shadow, I thought, quite possibly. I don't want to sit on the fence, but I'm still going to go with fake.
I agree with you in 1970 AFAMA, fake. Basically because we have another video that's centre stage.
Yeah.
Perfectly in where they want us to look. So I'm going with fake as well.
Yeah.
You know, there are easy ways of creating that haze. Yeah, we've seen that with the old Jeff Soul videos.
Yeah.
Where he put it together for us like a year ago.
Yeah.
Wonder what he's up to these days. Thank you if you're watching, Jeff. Yeah, we've always got to be skeptical. And it's just too perfectly in shot for me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with fake as well for that one. So thank you for agreeing, and thank you also for the people commenting fake as well. All right, so number 2, which was the guitar shop.
I would say that is real, and I would think a guitar shop, there's many shops that would perhaps be likened for a spirit to hang around, but music is quite a passionate thing, and I guess an earthbound spirit would go where its passion is, and so I would say there's a good bet that that's real.
Do you know why I'm going to agree with you, Mike?
Go on then.
Because there's stuff that happens that they didn't pick up.
Uh-huh.
So if you're watching this, guys, go back and watch the footage again. And in the top right corner, you can see where the stairs are. If you go down there, there's like 2 rooms, and you can see things moving.
Right. Okay.
It could be someone else out there, another staff member or a customer, but it's funny how it doesn't look like because there's no one there.
Okay.
So if this was set up and if this was fake, they always point out the fake bits that they create.
Okay, well, Gabby says, could be real, or maybe also sunshine from a window moving, but looks real.
That's right. But there's things that move off to the right side as you're watching it, okay? Now, also, whenever I see things moving across the screen, I like thinking it could be a bug, could be a spider web, but this is inside the shop with lights on inside.
Yeah.
So it's very hard for the optic of the camera to detect those when there's lights on through daylight.
Right.
And that's why night, spider webs, they stand out and you film it really clearly. So I'm going to debunk that it's not a spider web.
Right.
So I'm actually on the inclination that one's real.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Well, if someone had been playing Stairway to Heaven, I would have said this is fake, because everyone who goes in a music shop plays Stairway to Heaven. And there was one music shop. There was one music shop, Linda, in London, where you test the guitars. It said, no Stairway to Heaven. they were fed up.
They must get sick of listening to it. They really must. But, you know, I'm taking my daughter to uni tomorrow. When I went in 2 days ago, I wore my AC/DC shirt, and there's all these people there with all their, like, they're trying to be cool because it's uni, right? You know, this woman, she's like 60 years old. She's wearing her high-heeled boots. You know, they're trying to be cool and young and hip. So I'm there with my Akadaka T-shirt on AC/DC, and there's this old guy, probably 70, and he's wearing his Pink Floyd T-shirt, and there was another guy there with Kiss, and I thought, I'm going to make his all pay tomorrow because I'm wearing my Led Zeppelin shirt, you know. So it'll be interesting to see what all these other people wear tomorrow, you know, because we're all still, but Led Zeppelin, I'm on that Stairway to Heaven. All right, so number 3 photo, what do you think, Mike?
I think that could be real, and that to me looks like a priest in the window.
Do you want to know why I'm agreeing with you?
Go on then.
One, that's a dilapidated old building and it's probably condemned where there's signage saying do not go inside. So anyone that's gone to that effort to go upstairs, that would have been a health concern and safety concern. But secondly, the reason why I know that that's a real photo, because most photos where there's a ghost in a window is exactly that, a ghost in a window.
Yeah.
The window in this photo has no glass.
Yeah.
So it's not a reflection.
No.
And when you look at where that figure is, you can see the door, because the door comes down through it. So it's what's called a translucent apparition. And I love that photo. Because
Super,
I've seen transparent apparitions when they come through, and that's exactly how they look. It's like a white. So, okay, let's just go there with some education, guys. At night time, because it's got to be night light, it's got to be dark outside, stand in front of a glass door or window with a light on behind you, and you look at your reflection on the glass. Yes, it's colorized, but if you stand back, you start losing that color, and you only see it like a transparent apparition.
Right.
That's how I see ghosts. Okay, and I see them like Mike's sitting in front of me right now. But but that's how we can tell what an apparition is. Because people say, oh, I want to see what an apparition is. So turn on a light at night and look at yourself in the reflection of the glass. And when you're standing there, look at things behind you in the room, but you're looking at the reflection. So you're looking at things like looking at these roses behind me in the reflection, and that's how a ghost will appear. And it's nearly exactly how that photo was. There's no glass in that window.
No glass there.
That's what gave it away.
Yeah.
No glass.
Super.
I love it. All right, so that's our ghost situation for the night. If you do have a ghost story or a photo and you want it to be on our show, please send it over to Mike at Mike Cavalli at Hotmail. I've added the email before.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so where are we going over to now, darling?
We're going to look at this angel story where this lady believes that she was speaking to an angel. Yes, could be. I won't do a spoiler alert.
And I love your name too, by the way.
There's certainly something here in this, and I don't want to say anything because I don't want to put your thoughts in a certain direction. So we'll just watch it and then see what you think, and then I'll give you my thoughts and your thoughts and anyone else's thoughts.
The reason why I like her, the reason why I like her, guys, is because her name is Linda Schaefer. Let's go watch it.
It began with meeting Mother Teresa in Atlanta, June 15th, 1995, at Hartsfield Airport. She came right up to me through all the other people, took my hands, held them up to her heart, and looked deeply into my soul. And I heard her say, "Come and see." And I accepted that invitation. 2 months later, I was on a plane to India, headed for Bangalore first, and then followed by Calcutta. I was in a really bad place in my life at this time for personal reasons, which I will not go into at this time. But suffice to say, I'd lost my first husband to cancer. I was not in a good relationship with the second man who would be my husband. And I went to the airport loaded with equipment, cameras, a visa, 6-month visa, and had no idea when I would return. I was planning to probably return to Atlanta in about 4 months. I was very tired. I had 2 empty seats next to me, and I thought, oh yes, this I'm going to be able to rest. As you might tell by now, I often rest on airplanes. And just as the plane is about to take off, this man comes and sits next to me. And of course, he was a small man with gray hair and twinkling eyes and a little gray silver beard and very well dressed in a pair of designer blue jeans and a blue blazer. And I sat there and I thought, oh shit, he's going to be sitting there, which means I won't have the 3 seats to sleep on. And before the plane even took off, as we were going down the runway, without looking at me, he said, "You had a very difficult week last week." And I looked at him and I said, "I had a difficult year." He said, "It was very hot where you were, very hot." He said, "Your father nearly died. It could have been yes, could have been no, could have been yes, could have been no." And now I'm looking at him like, what? And he said, "Yes, your father's heart, but your prayer saved him." And I'm like, what? Because I nearly didn't leave Atlanta because of my father's heart failure condition, and he had been hospitalized and nearly did die. And I remember that day, I didn't pray very often, but that day I really did pray to God to save his life. And then he said to me, "Don't worry, your father will be there when you get back in 6 months." And I looked at him and I said, "I'm not planning to be in India for 6 months. I'm going to be there for 4 months." He says, "No, it will be closer to 6. Well, let me tell you, this conversation went on for about 3 hours. He told me everything about my past, about my present, and things that would happen in the future. He told me about Ron and that he was fine and not to worry about him anymore. And I said, I'm just giving you pieces of our 3-hour dialogue, which I did write down in a journal, which I have not written about extensively in my book at all, because people would think it's strange. And I said, "I'm going to test you. What was his name?" And he said, his first name started with R, his second name started with C, and his name was Ron Campbell. And then he went on to say, "You have emptied a hole in your heart, a whole missing place in your heart. But don't worry, it will be soon filled with the birth of your child." And at this point, I'm really shocked. And I said, no, not possible. I can't have a child. And he said, "Yes, very soon, very soon." Well, within less than 5 months, I was pregnant with Paul, because George came to India and I got pregnant on my birthday, essentially. Well, actually, it was Christmas. It was my Christmas present. And then I returned to Atlanta January 96. Went to India August, middle of August, returned January. And so this dialogue continued, and he told me about the men in my life and what to expect in the future, which I will never divulge at this point. But he told me about my personality. He told me that I was to embark on a very important journey, and that I should never, ever stop it, and I should never, ever give up. And he said, sometimes you've embarked on these projects before, and then you stopped, and that's your own insecurity. But this one, you must never stop. And in between our talks, he would tell me about people on the plane and what they were going through. He told me about the flight attendants. And he said to me, "Sometimes you get a little bit, angry." He said, "But I know you have very good heart, very good heart." And he smiled at this other person. And he said, "But you must always be sweet like me. You see, they bring me chocolates." And the flight attendants were bringing him Swiss chocolates and hovering around him all the time on our flight. And at different times we went to different parts of the plane. I don't know exactly how that happened, other than at one point he was sitting in the back of the plane and called me back so I could have a cigarette. I was still smoking, and I sat next to him smoking. It was really funny. And then I asked him, "What do you do? What do you do?" After a while, when you're speaking to an Indian, you start speaking like an Indian. I said, "What do you do for a living?" He said, "Oh, I'm in the fashion business." Well, he certainly looked like he was in the fashion business. And I said, "What company do you work for?" Yes, I work for company A to Z. A to Z. Oh, okay. Well, he gave me the name of his company. I wrote it down. And when I got to Bangalore, he told me he had offices in India. And when I tried calling the offices, they never existed. And he also told me not to worry about my flight to Bangalore, that it was already arranged, because I had not got my tickets. And when I actually went to the domestic airport in Bombay, my flight was arranged. My ticket was there, and I'd never purchased one. One of the last things he said to me, to make this sweet and short, I had always had this fear that I would have lung cancer because I smoked cigarettes. And he turned and looked at me and he said, one more thing. Don't worry. You will not have lung cancer. Namaste.
Quite interesting. Well,
How
Linda,
amazing.
angels come in all shapes and sizes. Often they've got 4 paws and a tail. Often we're used.
Angel.
Often we're used for just a short period of time as angels. This man, Guru, ascended master, was he just intuitive or completely psychic? I would have said that he was just really quite psychic until the end, where he said, don't worry about the ticket, it's already taken care of. That to me gave a little bit of an edge on it. And I thought, there's more to this man than just being psychic and intuitive.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. You know, we all get our psychic information. There's some psychics out there who are phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the rarities, like if this guy was a psychic, that would be one of those rarity types, you know. But there's nothing that happens coincidentally in life.
No.
She had to have those 2 empty seats next to her for him to come and sit next to her. Because, you know, you've always got to be in your assigned seat on takeoff. So he actually sat down to her before takeoff because she said that during takeoff he was sitting next to her. So he was either destined to be there as part of the manifest or he was moved seats deliberately to talk to her.
Yeah.
Either way, what a great experience.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes this is where, Mike, we just have to trust what they do without questions. We don't have to question everything that they do. We just have to acknowledge them and say thank you for allowing that to happen.
Yeah.
And that's one of those instances that she had.
Yeah.
You know, so that was an amazing story for her.
And of course, Linda, that was back in the day where you can be flying 35, 40,000 feet in the air, surrounded by fuel that can blow up, and you're having a good old cigarette at the back in the good old days. My mother was pulling her hair out last time she went to the States because she couldn't smoke for 7 hours. You know, on all the times before there'd be there the smokers bit all smoking away in this bomb, basically.
You know. And look at it now, you can't even take hairspray or anything on a plane, just in case it blows up.
Yeah. Strange.
It's bloody funny, isn't it? It is funny. Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah, we just didn't realise. You know, it's like the old, go and play in that blue sand. It's so nice for you. And then they came out, oh, asbestos is really bad. You shouldn't have done that. Cop, you shouldn't have done that. Oh, my God. So no disrespect to anyone that's got asbestos poisoning, okay? It's devastating what it does to our bodies. Yeah. All right, so next one, where are we going to now?
Jeremy Anderson, the reincarnation of Jeremy Anderson. Again, another story where this kid seems to remember hell of a lot. No spoiler alert. Let's see the story and comment after.
Jeremy Anderson, James Hauser. Jeremy was born in Wacomis, Oklahoma, and at the age of 2 insisted that his name was not Jeremy but Jimmy. One day he was looking at a picture book with his grandmother and saw a picture of a truck and said to her that it was a truck just like that in the picture that struck him and killed him. His grandmother said that Jeremy was extremely angry with the truck driver that had killed him. On another occasion, his grandfather Jack was lying in bed and resting a sore back, and Jeremy walked into the room and said, "What's up, Grandpa? Is your back killing you?" His grandfather replied, "Well, it's not killing me, but it's very sore." Jeremy then said, "Well, one time my back was really sore and it killed me." In 1967, two teenagers by the name of Jimmy Hauser, 14, and Kevin Lucas, 16, were driving a Buick sedan. Kevin, the supposed driver, was driving at a speed of 75 miles an hour when their car struck a truck at a rural intersection. The car then skidded about 99 feet before striking another truck before spinning another 108 feet. Although Kevin Lucas survived the accident with serious injuries, he had no memory of the accident, and Jimmy had been killed. James Hauser, or Jimmy, was buried at Tonkawa Cemetery about 90 miles from Jeremy's house. It turns out that Jimmy was the son of Nancy Anderson and the half-brother of Ron Anderson, who was Jeremy's father. James Anderson's gravestone reads August 11th, 1952 to August 12th, 1967. In April 1980, when Jeremy was 5 years old, he was taken to where the accident had taken place 13 years previously and got extremely emotional and described how he'd fallen out of the car. He said, "I was going like a bullet. It went like a bomb." The undertaker, who had overseen the damaged body of Jimmy, had described the type of injury normally sustained by the driver of the car and not the passenger. Jeremy Anderson had always claimed that he was the driver of the car and not Kevin.
That was a quick reincarnation.
Yeah.
What do you think, Linda?
Well, there's no time when it comes to reincarnation.
No.
You know, I do get a lot of questions about reincarnation. Obviously, I tried my best in my own opinion on how to answer these questions. And we've got to eliminate the fact that there's time. We don't just live, die, live, die, live, die through our lives. We die, we can be incarnated again through reincarnation at any point in history or future. So, you know, I honestly say there's a few million of Linda souls out there right now, incarnations as other people.
Yeah.
So it can be possible.
Yeah.
You know, a lady emailed me just yesterday and she said, "Could my daughter also be my own soul?" Absolutely.
Yeah.
But what we do have to remember, Mike, is that every life we do get our own life contract. Every life we sign up to different lessons to learn. And that's why sometimes if we do get to have that amazing opportunity of meeting ourselves in another body, we must remember that we may not get on with that other person because they're learning a lesson that we may not be learning in this life that we're in.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's why sometimes we do get on famously with ourselves,
Yeah.
but other times we want to just wring their necks and say, "I can't handle you and I don't want to see you again." Because, you know, I say it like if someone's to learn generosity and then we come back into like Linda, where I've got to learn how to be a tight bitch type and I'm not allowed to give anyone my money and I'm a tight, you know, I'm never going to go get along with someone who's really generous with their money.
Sure.
So, and even though it's still me as my soul, you know, so yeah, that's the thing that I always tell you. That's the warning of reincarnation. We may not always like ourselves.
Yeah.
You know,
Linda, before
if we learn, why do we forget? Said James. That's a good question, James. The reason why we forget is because some people come here 10,000 times in the same body to learn the lesson over and over and over again. How do you think deja vu works? We've lived it before. So how many times have I been Linda, born in 1966, and gone through this until I finally learned the lesson? So if we knew the answers to the quiz, we would never have to take the test.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
That's why we forget. That's why we forget. Because if we knew how to be compassionate, we wouldn't have to come here in the first place. So, of course, they make us forget. So we're fresh. That's why we're born so ignorantly and naively. So we do have to learn as we go through life. Yeah, that's my belief anyway, James. Hope you liked it. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Before we
We better keep moving along here, darling, because I've got to finish at the o'clock. So we're down to 15 minutes left.
I'll ask you the question after this. We'll have time for it. So let's have a look at the NDE.
Well, ask it now. Sorry, I didn't want to push.
In our spiritual report the other day, somebody asked, she's seen a lot of NDEs, but she never saw a lot about people being shown their contracts. And we did actually do a show where this woman was shown her contract because she didn't believe, and they said, look, you agreed to this. So the question was, and I think Jean said she was shown a paper contract because that's what she needed to see. But there isn't necessarily a paper contract because many people cross over and go, I've done it, I fulfilled it. So there isn't the need for a paper contract. It was just, this was the only way this woman would understand what she agreed to do. Does that sort of resonate?
And I like how you said it. We are shown so we understand it.
Yeah.
And that's why so many people have different NDEs. Some people are in churches. Some people are in fields. Some people go to the city. Some people go to the mountains. So we're given things that we can relate to, so then we believe it. And that's what that lady needed. She needed that physical piece of paper in her hand so she could say, oh my God, now I know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know if she actually said the thank you, but I hope she did.
Right.
Yeah, so I hope that explains it then why, that's why sometimes we don't see it physically because we know it.
Yeah.
Because, when we go to heaven, what are we? We're connected to everything.
Yeah.
So we don't need a piece of paper to remind us
No.
because we already know it.
Right. Okay. SamiraHenning NDE. Similar to yours, I believe. Let's have a look.
Absolutely.
And by bike, I passed by the dance school, which every time I did exalted me. I felt so happy to be starting dancing there again soon. But some yards further on, I suddenly heard a loud bang, and I can still recollect that I thought, what was that? But at this very moment, I was already thrown through the air. I was thrown over the car which hit me, and I fell on my back. And then when I collided with the asphalt of the street, I was pulled away. At that moment, did you have your near-death experience? Yes. Thereupon, I floated above the location of this accident. I saw my body lying on the street. I saw cars coming from behind and stopping suddenly. I saw people nervously running here and there. There was great agitation at the scene of the accident, but I was floating up there quietly with unbelievable calm and also weightless. I felt light as a feather, simply watching everything from this distance. Then suddenly I felt a powerful suction, and I was pulled away from the scene of the accident, and very far away I saw a light. This light was so incredibly beautiful. It was actually like, it's difficult to put into words. I felt that this could be a being comparable with living light. It was neither warm nor cold. It was simply incredibly beautiful. And the only thing I knew was that I would like to move there. Then I continued to approach the light, one might say. The closer I came, the more I felt that I didn't want to go back from there into my body anymore. The only thing I wanted was to stay there. Suddenly, I had the feeling that someone was standing beside me. I was somewhat confused, really pretty confused. What's going on here? Then I saw a figure standing beside me, which I recognized as my spiritual friend, you might say. I knew him from my childhood. I had discussed a lot with him. He always had been there for me. He was able to comfort me when I was sad. He answered all my questions, and that is why I recognized him. He was standing beside me, fully present. he made a gesture to stop me from approaching the light and said to me very calmly, "Stop. You must not go further from here." When he told me this, I was unbelievably shocked, because I had a very strong sensation of being attracted by the light, and so I asked him, staring at him in disbelief, "After all, why is it not possible for me to go further? I'm here." And he replied, "Your time has not yet come. You have to go back. You still have a task on earth." But let's just say he took me by the hand, and then suddenly we were flying over a vast city. There were high-rise buildings and skyscrapers, each one higher than the other. And between these skyscrapers I saw streets with many, many people moving about, comparable with a swarm of ants. However, this city seemed to me to be unbelievably heavy and dark. And so I asked myself what he intended to show me. And he said to me, "Come on, let's get a little closer. Then you will see what I would like to show you." All communication happened by way of thought, and everything happened very quickly. So we got closer, and I could see these people, and suddenly I could find exactly the same light inside everybody. It was this light which I had seen before. It was inside of everyone, like a flame. And in the moment in which I realized this, they all looked up, so to speak, beaming into the atmosphere like a torch beam, many, many torches all together. And this light connected into a whole, comparable with a web put around the globe. And at that instant, I realized that I also was part of this light. That means that the light was not there where I wanted to move, but that it is inside of me. And just at that moment of being aware of this, I was again catapulted back downward into my body. So let's go back to this city with the people. Was this city an earthly city? I can't say that. I really have no idea. According to my inner world of images, it looked like New York City, for example. I've never been there, but creating my own imagery, I think it's comparable with that city. You spoke about an appearance and a teacher. What did you see him as, this appearance? I saw him as a spirit. In my childhood, I always felt he was with me. Perhaps one could say like a guardian angel or a spirit teacher. It was just like a form of energy which was known to me. One time, when I was a child, he told me, "Don't hesitate to give me a name if it helps you in case you'd like to call on me." So I called him Nathaniel because I like this name very much, and I still use it today. But this is only a tool for me. He himself does not have a name. What impact did this near-death experience have on your future life? Well, it had a huge impact, because from this moment on, I knew why I was here, and I understood the meaning of life, and also the reason why I am here. I mean, my task. This has given me incredible insight, and it also meant an experience of awareness for me. I realized that the light is always superior, and that it makes no difference whether we are here or when we die. It belongs together, which means that life is there and it is also here. It flows together. We originate from this light and we will go back there again. This was my primary experience. And another one is that sometimes I see an image of two rooms separated by a wall. And in this wall there is a door. One of these rooms is very dark and black, and the other room is full of light. When I open now the door in this wall, what will happen? Will the dark move into the light, or will the light move into the dark?
Very interesting comment at the end. Will the dark move into the light or the light into the dark? I guess that depends on your perception once again. Linda, we better wrap this up quick, so I'll let you have the final.
Okay. I just want to go there with one similar. There was so much in there that, it's all in my book. If anyone's interested, it's called 5 Years in Heaven, The Teachings of Heaven. That's how much information I put in there. The one that I love it was when she was talking about Nathaniel, and she said he himself has no name. Why do you think I call her her? I don't have a name for her. I just, I tell people I've got to ask her. So her is her name. They don't need names because they don't have those titles or materialistic stereotyping like we have here on Earth, okay? Creating our own appearance, that's where I can, me with how we create, we can go into any persona, etc. One minute I had a short black bob, and then the next thing I've got hair down my waist. Just what we think we create. Right. So, the more we learn about these NDEs, and the more that we're looking for those similarities, and that we're opening up our consciousness to the possibilities of what exists out there, and we realize the games that we're being played every day through our societal conditioning, that is when we start critically thinking about who we truly are, what truly matters in our own existence, and ultimately who we want to be in our future, and then what that touches onto others to create a better life for them as well. So, guys, in the next week, think about what you're doing to create a better life for others. So I'm pretty full up, busy until next week. So if you do email me, please, my apologies if I don't get back to you for a few days, because I know I've got over 50 emails just from yesterday that I still haven't had the time to answer. So from here in Australia, I'm going to love you all. I've got to go to bed because it's a big uni day for me tomorrow with my daughter. So from me, wherever you are on the planet, good night, good morning, or good evening. Thank you so much for watching. If you do have a paranormal story that you wish to be on our show, anything relating to NDE, paranormal, ghosts, angel stories, time slips, whatever your story is, if you do wish to get it on our show, please contact Mike at mikecavalli@hotmail, one word, at hotmail.com. He is able to format it for you. And James, thank you so much for being here again, my darling man. Please know that we wouldn't be doing this unless it was for other people, okay? Wow. If you do like the show, please share it with your friends. Mike is now back on Facebook.
Well, Mike isn't, but the Mediumship Show is. And I haven't got my photo up there. My family name, surname isn't up there.
No, because Mike got hacked, remember, guys. So next week we'll share all Mike's new details, okay? So stay tuned till next week. Yeah. And I'll also, if you get your friends and families to come across as well, and they're watching as well, let's just go there. Right now we've got 6 watching. So let's go there. Next week, if we get to 6 watching again, I'll give away some copies of my books.
Yay.
For free PDFs. So we want to get higher than 6, so we need 7 watching us at one point. So let's see how we go. So get on your friends and say, hey, if you want a free copy of one of Linda's books, because I've got 4, come along, watch us next week, guys, okay?
Yep.
Until then, I'm going to say goodnight because I need my beauty sleep.
See you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.